Okay,
All
now
right,
we
so
can.
the question I have for Paula, and just for some context, I've lived in Medellin for the last 7, almost 8 years. I speak Spanish pretty fluently. I've been to 9 different cities throughout Colombia, and I always hear a lot of heat or attention given by Colombians about all the bad things that foreigners are doing with, coming into Colombia, coming into Medellin, and it really gets me upset when foreigners are constantly getting drugged and killed and robbed and all this other stuff, and there's no action, there's no sympathy for all the people that are dying. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that, as well as your, I guess, behind the scenes insight amongst what other Colombians say about those problems that are continuously going on, specifically in Medellin, more so than any other city.
Mm, it is a complicated situation. It is sad, honestly. There is a problem right there that is a lot of people are not reporting it. I personally have clients that haven't, so it's difficult maybe in that side to take action. From the local perspective, it's like, um, it's sad. I'm not saying it's no, but some people are like, okay, but it happened maybe because they were looking for prostitutes and stuff like that. They justify the end because of what may cause it, right? Um, I think it's a bad thing. I think there should be a regulations about it. But I don't know what type of regulation they can put, because most of these things are happening off dating apps. So how can you regulate those things if you saw me and we match on Tinder and then I go to your place because you like me and I scopolamine you? Like, what can the government? How can the government control that except for like banning those dating apps? But then they will have to go into a legal um, to court with those apps in the country for why they're banning them. So it's a long process. I don't really know. All I'm saying is that people need to be careful, because to be honest with you, this is now it's called escopolami. We used to call it burundanga, and it has not only happens to foreigners, it happens to local people, to women. Before, it was like the guys doing it to women sometimes so they can bring them back home, or they doing it to, or even the women to men. You understand?
Yeah.
Um,
So I have an idea. You were saying, like, what can the government do or what can people do? I think like the same kind of interest people have at protesting in Parque Jarris and protesting in Provenza and demanding that, there's less gringos coming to visit Colombia. If people would do that in the barrios about tourists being killed, then maybe that would kind of influence a little bit. I mean, I really like Medellin, but there's a lot of hypocrisy that goes on there. Like, people
of
want
course.
to people want to talk about all the druggings that's going. I mean, I'm sorry, not the druggings, but that foreigners are coming to Medellin for drugs. Yet you have Barrio Antioquia, you have Boyacá and El Centro, where it's like a nightmare. It's just a street full of addicts all over the street, and the police are a block away and don't do anything about it. So it's it's a culture of, and again,
It
I'm
has
I'm not blaming you, especially because you're
no, I
from
understand.
Barranquilla.
It has happened for a long time for locals too. Uh, before I moved to Medellin, we was in Santa Marta with my friend Kelly. She's very popular here in Colombia, and we were in this school in Santa Marta, which is very rare to see in Santa Marta because it really never happens. And she was having a drink. She put her drink in the bar thing, and somebody put burundanga, what you call escopolamin, in her drink. So it's not only happening to foreigners. Now it's bad because they're using it with the purpose of robbing them, and because they don't know about this substance, they be putting more of the doses that they should, and that's what is actually killing these people, because it's
Right.
overdoses of the drug, right?
Right.
But it's been happening for Colombian two guys, and it's not like I don't want to take accountability for it, but I don't know what to say. There is a lot enough warner for people to be careful who they bring in to their places. I have a client. It was like a month and a half ago. Imagine, he doesn't party, he doesn't do drugs, he's a fitness rat. He the more sane guy you can see. Yeah, he also fell into that because knew how to convince him of coming to his place. She knew she was doing that. She ended up coming to her place, give him drugs. He was like all his body is strong because he eat good, he exercise, but it's still the drug made him sleep, and she took everything from him. And he's not a bad guy. But just like it happened to him, it happened to also guys that are looking for prostitute. It happens to everybody, and it happens to local people. Well, one thing that I will say that a lot of people are like, it's only happening in Colombia. It's not only happening in Colombia. I've seen cases even in America. It happened. It's just not public there because people who live there don't want to be exposed to those things. Cardi B, even I don't know how she's not in prison for that, but Cardi B publicly still in an interview that when she was a stripper, she used to drug guys so she can take their money and leave. She could have killed somebody and we don't even know. So factually, that's something that is also happening there, but it's not public because if you live there and it happened to you there, you don't want your family to know that somebody robbed you because you were about to have sex and they put drugs on you, right? So I would say it's an issue. It shouldn't be happening here because it should be like a safe place for tourists. I don't know what will be the solution for it, honestly, because it's mostly based on social media. Because I guarantee you, you live here. If you go to the Jeras Park and you get a girl from there, it's there is like low cases that it can happen because those girls they work there. They are seen every day. If you point at them or take a picture to their to Parque Lleras, they're probably gonna be, oh, I know her or I know where she lives. But they get on social on dating apps. Nobody knows them. You don't have really a registration of them. Nobody can give you like a refer of her. So they doing that and they disappear. And who's gonna find her? They're using like fake IDs, um, fake names. They even use wigs. It's complicated.
So what do other Colombians in your social circle say, or what do they believe? What do they think about the prevalence of the foreigners being drugged? Because I've seen some online forums where like Colombians are cheering every time there's a gringo dead, and it kind of makes it it's like an us versus them thing at that point, you know.
No, I honestly, if you go to the expats group in Medellin that live in, join them, and you will see the amount of expats that live here that are American, European, that they don't want to hang around gringos or even environments where there is gringos. And yeah, I can show you screenshots of them saying it publicly on those groups. When even there is an event or something like, I'm not coming because I know there's gonna be gringos there and stuff. Gringos living here. So if the own expat community is against certain things, you can only imagine how the locals are. And about the solution for what's happening, I don't really know because it's complicated. Is based on dating apps and then how you control that. I think if you know there is an issue, a social issue, I think what is less is for each individual to be aware of what is happening and then to take action based in what they know. Okay, there is going on, then why are you taking these women to your bed if you don't really know her?
Right.
And I'm not saying there isn't an issue because I know people are gonna come, oh, but she's not. No, there is an issue clearly. Those women are doing this clearly. I'm not saying it's gringos' fault because everybody has the right to date and to invite somebody that they like over to the place. But if you know there is an issue, then act based on that. No
Okay.
dar papaya. Somebody just say it there.
¿Y a ti eres segura?
Mm?
¿Estás soltera
Sí.
y segura? No vas a drogarme. Si te invito,
No.
no vas a drogarme.
No.
Okay. Hey, Austin. So last October, I decided to get a spot out here in Rio de Janeiro. So I've been moving, living back and forth between Medellin and Rio. And then last month, I decided to just cut my ties in Medellin, put all my stuff in storage, and I'm here full time in Barra da Tijuca.
How do you like Barra da Tijuca as opposed to Ipanema and all that?
I look at it like, so Barra da Tijuca is a great place to live, but when you want to party and do all that other stuff, you can head out to Copa and Ipanema. But my spot is like literally right on the beach. I can hear the waves crashing. So it's great, man. So come on back home, bro.
I'll be back. I'll be back real soon. Before you know it, I promise. Before you know it.
Nobody wants him there.
We got 2 more super chats from Germany, July. I heard Mexicans are more racist towards Black people than Colombia. Why? Does anybody have the answer to that?
Mexico probably has fewer Black people there, so they probably don't have as outspoken of a community.
Yeah. The next one is from James Morton. He says, when I see Colombians in my country, I never take advantage of them or discriminate. Until Colombia gets a handle on targeting gringos, no regreso.
Okay.
So I did my master's thesis on something to do with Colombia and the fight that they were having against the FARC, which is the guerrilla group, Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned a lot about the history and the background and the culture and all that stuff working out of the embassy in Bogota. And it's a beautiful country. The people are excellent for the most part, but I think anytime you have a tourist-centered city, you're always going to have people that try to take advantage of the tourists. That's anywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know, New York, Miami, LA, Chicago, wherever you go. So I'm from New Orleans, so it's the same way. Like when I go back to New Orleans, if I don't know the latest, lingo and places to go, things to do, people look at me like I'm a foreigner too. So
right.
I get that part.
Okay.
But thanks for the time. Nice talking to you, Paula.
Awesome. Nice talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well. I appreciate the support you sent as well.
Yes, sir.